I need to use a microphone or can you hear me without it? You can hear me without it? Good, because I don't like using microphones. And I think I've got a very loud voice anyway. I do, so I might just try, and I'm the quiet one relative to my sister. Thank you everybody for coming today, and thank you Kathy, who just made it after being diverted from the Gold Coast by Sydney, by Melbourne, to finally make it to Adelaide due to the fog. And thank you to those who have also given up going to the football and watching the Crows. That's the joy of repeats. Replays, watch everything afterwards. So we're here today to just celebrate the life of Ria, who you have known in various stages and forms throughout her life. And so we would just like you to, perhaps there is a book there if you've got some special memories, or there's a moment of something that you can remember that she, or something that she meant to you, please write that down. We'd really like you to do that. There's some of her favourite things, which are chocolates, so there are some chocolates for you to take home, paper nota, and also some felt hearts, which are there as part of the 1,000 Hearts project, which I would like everyone a chance to have a look at. It's take one of those if you wish, and just keep it with you if you wish to, whenever you feel like wanting almost presents or something along those lines, or if you're feeling a bit down, give it a squeeze, and then you can think of her, or and that can hopefully make things better. So I'll now hand you over to. Sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry. Toilets around the corner, and the other house. And then after the celebration doesn't matter. We've got some food, because that was something that was very dear to her as well. As you may see, that she went through a few metamorphoses throughout her life. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I won't use this. If people can't hear me, or if I'm talking too fast, put your hand up or help. Okay, so what we thought we'd do for those of you that don't know me or have seen me around, some of you may not have seen me for a long time. I am Ria's eldest daughter, and I've spent the last 17 years in the Kimberleys in Western Australia, so I didn't come down as often as I probably could have. And the last 4 years have been particularly difficult because of Ria's mental degeneration and not being able to FaceTime or have contact. In saying that, I wanted to say that Brenda's done an absolutely amazing job at every day, every week, keeping me updated to how Ria was going. I never felt like I wasn't part of her journey these last 4 years, and it put a lot of pressure on Brenda in lots of ways. So I think that I just want to acknowledge what you've done and how much energy you put into that. So just to start, Ria passed away at 90. She was born in Nijmegen in the Netherlands in 1934. She was the only daughter with 4 brothers, and her eldest brother John is now in his 103rd year and mentally acute. So we just wanted to say that he's sorry he couldn't be here today, but yes, he's the only brother remaining from their family at this point. She grew up in the war through tough times, and she built resilience. She migrated to Australia in 1954 at the age of 21, after her father had died. Her mother and younger brother made the 3-month sea journey to reunite with her 3 elder brothers, who were all in the Defence Force and all played soccer. Ria couldn't speak English, so she got a job at the Dutch consulate. Her brother Bill introduced Ria to her future husband Lou through soccer. Work took them from Sydney to Melbourne to Adelaide, where she remained. She never returned to the Netherlands. Ria never drove and only flew in a plane 2 to 3 times in her lifetime.
due to being terrified. Ria met some people when they lived in a group of flats in Somerton Park and formed strong friendships where they had progressive dinners, and those of you that lived in the 70s would understand how important that was as part of the social thing. There were lots of fine memories, and the friendships continued through to the next generation. And there's Natasha. She's there. We carried on the Dutch culture at home as Ria learnt English from us. Ria became involved in our primary school, becoming president of the Mothers Club, and continued with her voluntary work throughout her life. As I was growing up, Ria never showed when the going was tough. Ria would say what she thought, and her honesty helped us to become friends, and she was friends with her grandchildren too. She was never shy to tell my son Grayson to shut up and stop being a dinky-die Aussie, especially when he was imitating her very strong Dutch accent. Ria went to the club and maintained her Dutch heritage through playing cards, Dutch food and culture. We celebrated Sinterklaas traditions, especially the pepernoten, which Brenda has personally made for us today in memoriam. And they're just at the end of the table there if you wanted to sample some and take some with you. There were many, many moments that I remember from Ria's being with Ria, but there was one significant one which meant a lot to me. Because my first trip to the Kimberley was 38 years ago. When I was there, I was actually contracted to be a governess on a station, and it was the most rural and remote part I had ever experienced. So I went there to meet and greet the family I was going to be working with, see if I liked it to make the big massive move. And when I was there, I contracted a bad case of staph in my lower leg. And I had booked a bus ticket because I was too tight and couldn't afford a plane ticket back then. So I had a foot the size of, leg the size of a football coming down, and I knew by the time I got through Darwin that I was in a bad way. So I called Ria from Catherine and I said, I need you to come to Port Augusta. I didn't tell her why. Without a question, she came to Port Augusta in a car with a person she didn't know, travelled 400 kilometres, and she arrived just to meet me as I literally fell off the bus. So Ria was always there for us. She put everyone ahead of herself. She supported me with the children over the years while I worked and would take them for walks to the park and sneak them tiny teddies. Family meant the world to Ria. She was Alma to many, not just her direct family. Ria to me was a person who would take on a challenge. She had a great attitude to living and will be remembered by me as a strong, dedicated, happy woman who was Die Liefde Moeder en Oma van de Wereld, which means the sweetest mother and grandmother in the world. So now I'd like to just read the comments from my son and my two daughters, and then I'll hand over to Brenda. They couldn't be here today, unfortunately. Some of you may know them, some of you may not, but I think you might get a picture from what they say. Howdy everyone, my name is Grayson. For those who don't know me, I'm Deborah's eldest and Ria, Alma's eldest grandson. I have many stories to share about Alma, but the one I'd like to share with you all today happened just before I was born. For those of you who knew Alma well, you would know that she came to Australia when she was 21 from the Netherlands. She wasn't much of a fan of Australia and its customs then, especially because the only familiar food she could buy was Fritz and cheese. When she was asked to bring a plate to a party, she literally brought an empty plate, not knowing the common Aussie expression. One of the habits she kept from Holland was that she loved to have a cigarette. Deborah had mentioned to Alma that she didn't want to bring me around if she was smoking. The next day, she went cold turkey and quit. And that was after 27 years of a packet a day, pretty much, wasn't it? Probably longer, but 27 years that we knew. And she just quit like that. So that shows you again the type of person that she was.
It also shows you that she couldn't be told what to do, really. It was a case of she had to do it always on her terms.
Yeah. So I tell you this story because to me, this was one of the many, many occasions Alma had put others first. Her passion for caring was second to none. She was an amazing Alma, making sure all of us grandchildren were well looked after and spoiled. She treated us all the same, even though I was definitely the favourite. I feel extremely blessed to be able to call her my Alma. You will always be a monumental person in my life, and I look forward to the day we can share some of your amazing chicken soup again in heaven. Your grandson, Grayson. So this is from Sophia. Alma was loving and caring. She was someone who always looked after everyone. Alma was full of happiness and a joy to everyone she met. Alma was truly a rare diamond. She was always shining so bright. She was someone who could light up millions of faces just from being around her. Alma, you're an angel sent from above, and I know that you are looking down on all of us now. I'm so grateful to have had you in our lives. I know you will always be in our hearts. Rest in peace, loving Alma, Sophia. And last but not least, Ariana. Alma was a loving and caring grandmother who always looked after us. Growing up, I remember she made the best chicken soup I've ever had, and I always looked forward to it when visiting her. She was always around when we needed her, and she brought a lot of joy into our childhood. I appreciate your custard. It was my favourite dessert. One of the things I appreciated most about Alma was how she expressed care through what she made, especially her knitting. She once made me a unicorn quilt, and it meant a lot to have something she made with her own hands. It was personal, thoughtful, and it showed how much she paid attention to the things we liked and cared about. She wasn't someone who needed big moments or attention. She just quietly did what needed to be done. Whether it was making a great meal or looking after us kids, she gave her time and energy in a way that made a real difference. My dear Alma, you will be missed, and I'm grateful for the role you played in our lives. With love, Ariana.
So following on, in 1974, Ria got a job as librarian assistant at Sacred Heart. Mum brought warmth and caring element to the library, always willing to help the boys. She loved it when it was an all-boys school, and would reserve books for her favourites. She would often supervise the boarders' homework study time in the evenings, not sure how much work was done, as she loved to chat and interact with them. She also managed to get the boarders to do community work, gardening and odd jobs at her house in Gordon Street. But I'm sure that the milkshakes, the hot lunches, opportunity to have a cigarette with Mrs H and seeing her two daughters were more of an incentive. She loved her time at the college and was instrumental in organising the lunches for past staff at the Holdie. She formed many strong friendships at Sacred Heart, and in particular with Robin McCord, who took over from her when she retired in '96. They had a wonderful friendship, and Robin has been very, very supportive of Mum during these last years, which is very much appreciated.
Thank you, Robin.
Mum was instrumental in matchmaking with John and I, in cahoots with the Dutch vet, Jerry Dean, through a prepubescent pregnant pussy. Cats were a big part of Mum's life, and she had a few over the years. All cats bonded with her and would seek her lap whenever there was a cat around. Mum never drove a car and was a terrible backseat driver. When in the car with John in particular, she was petrified, always telling him to slow down, slow down. And of course that just made him want to accelerate quicker and to see her reaction. All in while telling her, I'm not speeding, I'm just accelerating. It didn't matter to her. She would walk everywhere and catch public transport to all her activities. She was the master of knowing all the bus routes and timetables, taking 2 buses to get to Glenelg to play cards and into town to get her hair done weekly at the Clip Joint, which was a teaching school where she would often show the students pictures of her grandsons trying to match them up. Alma was very big on self-care, having regular massages, facials, having her hair and nails done. She took pride in her appearance. Mum was always involved. She participated in craft quilting, volunteered with Meals on Wheels, knitted beanies for the homeless, helped out at Westminster School with craft activities in the classroom and at the fete on the Villies van, doing the dishes at the banker's service amongst other things. She was always happy to help. She was generous with her time and loved the social aspect of it. She loved living at Hallett Cove. Her house was her castle, which was always immaculate. She loved her garden and had an amazing green thumb. Her myriad of roses came from cuttings. She could make anything grow, but didn't enjoy the pruning, so she outsourced that job to whoever she could get to do the job for free, or a cuppa and a biscuit. Mum enjoyed travelling, and as long as it didn't involve flying. She loved her trip to Kununurra on the Garn and cruises which gave her an opportunity to see new lands, dress up, eat and meet new people. She would often make the trip by bus to Wagga to see her eldest brother John and wife Janice, who she had matched up, as Janice was our babysitter, 50 years of marriage later, still going strong, and catch a train to Melbourne to spend time with her niece Donna, Pappy and children. On one occasion, she took a baby blue-tongued lizard in a cardboard box for a friend. She was absolutely petrified it might escape on the way, and she was saying, "What do I do about it?" We reassured her she would be fine, but she still did it. She was always accommodating. She was a great help to me over the years, walking up the hill, which is no mean feat in latter years, helping me to tidy my house and do the ironing, which she enjoyed, by the way. John's shirts had never been ironed as well as when she did it. And she would also fold and press all the undies, which was quite a feat with a G-string. She was happy to take my leftovers and was the taste tester for all my cakes and biscuits and desserts. In 2020, after a period of 66 years of living in Australia, she became an Australian citizen. She said she didn't want to rush into it. I had tried for over 30 years to try and get her to become an Australian citizen. And one of the things I always said to her, that if she died and she wasn't an Australian citizen, I would have her cremated and send her ashes in a clog back to Holland. That was not the incentive though. She enjoyed many an Australia Day celebration at our house as a non-Australian, as I kept reminding her. And it was a special moment when Nicole brought Olga to our house for Australia Day 2021, so she could actually celebrate as an Australian. Ria, a strong, resilient, dignified lady full of kindness and compassion. She loved being with people and forming connections. She would talk to anyone who stood still long enough, but with this formed many great friendships. I'm sure we all have special stories and memories of this wonderful person. I'm grateful that we wrote a living eulogy in 2020 so she was able to know how much she meant to people. Say what you want to say now, don't wait until it's too late. Mum, you were the wind beneath my wings. My rock, thank you for all the good times and for your beautiful smile which brought joy to all. You will be missed. John has a fruit.
This is a story about my mother-in-law.
Sorry, is it loud enough or does he need to project his voice?
Speak up. Speak up. This is a story of... Is that okay? It's got to be always one. You can't get him under control. About my mother-in-law. It doesn't sound like a great place to start. You choose the daughter for better or worse. Then you realise the mother-in-law comes with a set for worse or better. So in 1985, I should start with Ria before she became my mother-in-law, and that's MILF without the F. In 1985 was the first date with her daughter Brenda. We came back from a late lunch. Ria sitting in her red chair throne at the end of the lounge room. I can still picture this. Smoking, first bonus of the engagement, a fellow smoker. Brenda was horrified. A trait that both Ria and I had to give up before grandchildren arrive on a promise to Brenda, which we dutifully did. Arrived at 6 that night and left at 10, fully grilled by the direct Dutch questions and then later introduction to Dutch Indonesian food, 100-year-old eggs, what? And spice. Culinary exchange, we exposed Ria to Aussie family roast leg of lamb, which she'd never had until she came into the Calder house, and red wine. Whilst at Gordon Street, Summer Park, Ria had hired help. Dishes and ironing all completed with relish by the Grand Oma, her mother. Sounded great, but I'm not sure about the mother-in-law living at home. No. A smart professor who loved to socialise and talk, Ria continued to work part-time at Sacred Heart Library, having brought up 2 beautiful girls predominantly on her own, which was no easy gig. Fortunately, Oopers, she could not pronounce H, so it wasn't Hoopers, it was always Oopers. The supermarket was around the corner, and because thankfully, Ria never learned to drive. Mother-in-law by 87, grandmother by 3 times in 1990, by 6 before the end of the century. Time to swap homes, moved to Hallett Cove. Ria feared the water, couldn't swim, so we decided a house trip on the River Murray. What possibly could go wrong? Just stayed there with the water. Ria doesn't like flying. She wouldn't drive with me anymore. Green fingers, Ria could get any cutting to grow somewhere. From 1 rose, she ended up with 20. Great provided somebody else did the pruning. Dutch pruning meant anything that got above fence height had to be cut down, either to its knees, even the lemon tree at fence height. And then poor lemon tree died. Ria loved to socialise, talk to anyone, even if they weren't listening. Proudly Dutch, but she never went back to Holland in a whole time after leaving there. Independent, it required help from many. Finally an Australian citizen, slightly cruelled by COVID-19 restrictions. But at least she got a free feed at the State Parliament dining room. These days, her preferred mode of transport, I'm pleased this was written in 1919, transport is the South Australian ambulance, such as the sorry decline of our Ria, Oma, mother, grandmother, and my MILF, minus the F. Thanks.
This is a living eulogy. This tiny person we're speaking about today has started losing her mind, which is not okay. But now she has a proper excuse, a small little win, to keep committing the most unforgivable sin. For one is Robert and the other is James. Seriously, Oma, stop switching our names.
Since she can't distinguish between us two, we will write a joint eulogy, that's what we'll do. To tell her how much we love and how much we care, these feelings that both of us share. And to say anything that needs to be said, rather than wait until she is dead.
Being a grandparent is where we will start, performing that role with all of her heart. The basics she did when we were quite small, the types of things that don't ever seem cool. Like babysitting and cooking and cleaning our shit, or making us bed socks from colourful knit.
From teaching us to count in her native Dutch, to say goedemorgen, tot ziens and such, to walking us to school and helping out in class, making arts and craft and other things to help time pass. This is some of what we remember at that young age, yet our appreciation for those times we cannot gauge.
Then we got older and could drive a car, taking her places that walking was too far, like getting coffee with us down the bay, where we would treat her, letting us pay, and hear her stories about her life, about how tough she had it. That theme ran rife.
And although we had heard it at least once before, we sat through those tales and listened more, for her life has been one of challenge and hardship, a battle between her new and old citizenship. And of that we will forever be proud through and through. To call her our Oma, Ria Lawa, we will always love you.
Oma, how fortunate to have had a grandparent you never dreaded seeing, but always looked forward to seeing. That's how I felt with you. You living around the corner was the best thing for us growing up because we got to see so much of you. I know Mum appreciated the spontaneous visits and cleans, as did I, even though it would quite often be accompanied with a phone call. "Oh Mum, where's my soccer shorts?" I always look forward to Friday nights. Chicken soup, omelette, a glass of milk and some chocolate, of course, followed by a sleepover where I always found myself rolling into you because of the small weight difference. You were always heavily involved in my life, helping out at school and coming for craft days with Mum, or even ironing every piece of clothing that was washed, yes, even undies. You really did take care of us, didn't you? You loved your routines, cards in Glenelg, haircut at Clip Joint in the city, catching buses everywhere. Who needed Google Maps when they had you? I loved how easily you moved mentally when things were explained logically. You never seemed too concerned with gossip and didn't take anything too seriously. When I lived in the US, it was you who I missed the most. We used to have the you hang up, no you hang up, no you hang up kind of love. Every time I came home to visit, I wanted to spend most of my time with you, taking you out for lunch, going for beach walks. Wednesdays became our day. I love talking to you, and I think you enjoy talking with me because it was always about things of substance, never about nonsense. I asked difficult questions, you answered. I wanted to get to know you and you me, and get to know each other we did. You became my best friend, Oma, my person. You're the first person who I felt really got me. That's why I always wanted to sit next to you at family dinners. We could talk about things that mattered, or we could laugh at the ridiculousness of each other. You were my pal, my comfort, my safe space. You brought out the best in me, as childish as it would be at times, but I was happiest when I was with you. You were adored by everyone, neighbours, loved ones, and strangers alike. You had a warmth and a smile that instantly made people feel at ease. I think that was my favourite quality about you, your total acceptance and absence of judgment. You loved people as they are, as you loved me for me. Every weird, quirky, stinky facet. How lucky I was to be loved by you. The one thing that always stood out to me, though, was your unwavering strength. You survived World War II, immigrated to a foreign country whilst leaving your lover behind, suffered devastation and heartbreak in more ways than one, yet you could never tell that's what you'd been through. Your scars were hidden. Instead of bitterness and pain, you had forgiveness and openness. You accepted open back into your life when you had no reason to, but that was how you loved, unconditionally and selflessly. We had so many great memories. I used to love the way you would dance to my music, or we would dance together. I loved the way you would say, "I've never tried this before," even though you most certainly had. But I think that was your secret. You got excited over the boring, the mundane, the everyday things. You saw them with the novel excitement of a child, and I love that about you. COVID hit, and that was so hard for you. A once always sociable and integrated person, you suddenly became isolated, and I think that is when your demise really started to hasten. Falls became frequent, pyjamas your daily outfit. Your new home became Rembrandt, where the beautiful Sanju became your adopted granddaughter. How thankful we are for her. I'm so glad I had the time with you that I did. We had fun, even though you didn't like how fast I would drive. You were my favourite part of my childhood and even my adulthood. I got to experience some very special time with you, and you, 90 wonderful years on this earth. I love you, we love you. Rest easy, Oma. Everyone's Oma.
Oma lived the end of her days at Rembrandt Living. And somewhere she had many fun times there, playing bingo and attending social harmony. As her dementia progressed, she was so well looked after by the amazing staff and the commitment to a positive approach to care. Thank you to Nicole, who visited her during this time so often, and a carer who saw her decline to be a shadow of her former self. And here are some words from an angel who came to Mum, Sanju. To my dearest Oma, I met you in the most unexpected corner of the world, an aged care home from my own country, but somehow it felt like fate. You weren't just a resident, you became my Oma, my grandmother in spirit. Sanju. I still remember the first time I saw your smile. It was the kind of smile that could light up the whole building. Even on the toughest days, your smile had the power to heal, to comfort, and to remind me of what really matters in life. Though dementia may have hidden my face from your memory, I never once felt unseen by you. Our conversations weren't made of words, they were made of presence, of shared silences, of hugs and cuddles that felt like home. You didn't need to speak to me to tell me you cared. Your energy spoke louder than words ever could. Despite working in a different wing, it became my daily ritual to come and see you, not because I wanted to, because I needed to. Your smile was my medicine, your hugs were my peace, and your existence gave me purpose. You taught me that love is not always spoken. Sometimes it's just felt deeply. When I heard you were unwell, something in me knew the moment was coming, but nothing could have prepared me. Every phone call up after that made my heart race, and then it came, that call. The one I never wanted to hear. I still can't believe you're gone. I can't imagine this world without your gentle presence in it. Losing you has been a kind of heartbreak I never imagined. This is the first time I've truly felt what it means to lose family, because Oma, you were my family. If there's such a thing as rebirth, I pray with all my heart that I come back as your granddaughter, at least someone who gets to be close to you again. Wherever you are now, I hope it's filled with light, music and warmth, just like the joy you bring to everyone around you. I miss you, Oma, I love you beyond words, and I will always carry you with me. Thank you for being my reason to smile. With all my heart, your faraway granddaughter, Sanju. I'd just like to conclude with something which was written by an artist who says, if a raindrop is a kiss from someone we miss, take away my umbrella. I want to soak up the droplets of love and remembering. I want to walk in the rain. Thank you all for being here and being a part of Oma's life.
We've got probably about another 7 minutes just of a video that I've put together, so if you can please focus your attention on the screen.
Hello, Nico. This is Oma here. If you have started today, it's that for coming today. Hello, Nico. This is Oma here. If you have started me a ring, please. Bye. For coming today. It was very nice. It was a bit short, hope a bit longer next time. See you then. Bye. Hi, Nicole. This is Oma here. I saw a message on my phone. I am, yes, very well. God safety. I'll be in Marion tomorrow, but give me a ring when you have time. See you then. Bye. You to find out if you did just shopping tonight. Have a lovely day and lovely cruise. Thanks very much. Hope to hear from you. Bye.
You know who I am? Ria. I'm having a nice dinner with Brenda and her family. Was that nice? Well, tell me that didn't you send it to them? This is what your mother do at home, Mrs. I'm going to go to the Henderson soon in a couple of days' time. That's fine. Love it. Is that what you did? Is that the one? Is that the one, the gentleman? She was going to be out. Oh, gosh, how long? Oh, no wonder you couldn't beat me up so quickly. Oh, how nice. Say, oh gosh, you look so different. Oh gosh, coffee, I mean, are you still going to have coffee? It comes once a week to go shopping from Dutch Eastgate. So I went to buy something called Felix, the party mix. So I showed that to you. But when I came home, I thought, oh, I'll have some little biscuits. Then I realized it was for the cat. I did. Oh, Leela, you know, so I put it in the big basket and probably forgot it when I got home. So you got it now. We're having a little party here. A get together. I believe it's your birthday today. Happy birthday from Oma.
How are you feeling about today, Oma?
Well, I think it's about time that would become Australian.
Excited?
Well, I think it's different.
Different. Do you feel different? I don't know.
No, I mean,
You just lay your vote. You can talk politics all day.
yeah, that's right. That's it, is right. I think it was just time to go and get
Time. Can't rock.
not even bitter range.
She's abusing me, guys.
Yeah.
It's abuse.
Just ring, please. I'll give you the number. And Joe, the nail polish that you put on my fingers is still nice and nice still. And I think it's about 4 nights ago that I had it done. Congratulations. I'll tell everybody to use that nail polish.
Do you like the song? No, you're not. All right, let's say it for me. Go back.
Without my teeth.
Yes.
Or not, I take them off.
Yes.
Yeah, but I just not happen to have taken them off. Thank you for the company, Nicole. But I'm not talking for days.
What about last night?
Oh, we will.
Doesn't eat her greens.
The cut is too, I need a big cut down. Like smaller.
Seriously, that seems a bit wet.
God, look at the size. I hope you can go to people that can have the best.
No, you're eating all of it by yourself.
You must be joking.
What's your way? Right, lead. You know how that is. Oh, what am I doing?
Are you going to start singing?
Beautiful food. Thanks to this afternoon. Thank you to the people that have lunch with us. And nice company.
Are you eating chips?
No, might as well. There's a little bit of the snow. Look at the size of them.
Did you not eat half at lunch today?
Yeah, I've got plenty to eat something today. Nice, actually.
You ready, Elmo? You ready, Elmo?
I have patience of faith. Think.
you.
Okay.
Hello, Nicole, this is Oma here. If you have time, give me a ring, please.
Thank you to Nicole for putting that together and sharing the moments of the different aspects of Ria during her life, or what we remember, most of us will remember her as. And we thank you all for coming today and sharing a part of Ria's journey and ours, and being part of our lives too along the way. So we invite you to stay. We have some finger foods coming. Please just relax. Write something if you feel inclined. We have a book at the table there. Help yourself to some Lindt chocolate, some paper nota, and there's a bookmark that Brenda's made. We just thought if people wanted a memorial, just to let Brenda know, she'll make one especially for you to remember Ria by. So thank you again for coming and sharing this time with us.